Hello, listener, and welcome to Season 2 of Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Louis, 1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 1 of Earl, the animated series, Car and Driver. One day, while Earl was sitting in the dentist's office, he saw a man stealing magazines. "What are you doing?" asked Earl. "I'm taking what is rightfully mine. I am the magaziner." Earl decided to ignore the man, but the man kept talking. "When I was a boy, my parents didn't let me watch TV or go to the movies. My only entertainment was reading magazines when I went to the dentist office." "Cooper?" called the receptionist. "Thank heavens," said Earl in relief as he went into the other room for his appointment. When he came out, the magaziner was still talking. "My landlord told me I had too many magazines and that it was a fire hazard, so I killed him." The magaziner is one of my favorite villains. I hope the rumors of him being the main villain of the next Batman movie are true. Anyway, see you next week. Same PP time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome back to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Louis 1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 2 of Earl, the animated series, The Freak is In. While Earl was walking down the street, he saw a homeless man. Earl gave the man some money, and the man said, "Thank you, kind sir. No one has ever been so kind to me because of my condition." "What condition?" asked Earl. Dramatically, the man looked into the sky and said, "I'm ambidextrous." Later, Earl was talking to Batman. "I wish there was something I could do to help that freak. Maybe there's something I could do." A few days later, Earl was walking down the street when the man came up to him and said, "Guess what? I got a job at Wayne Enterprises. They said if I minimize the use of my left hand, there shouldn't be a problem." It's great to have you back, Jiraigumo and Battle in Boxer Glassjaw. Anyway, see us next week. Same PP time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome back to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Louis 1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 3 of Earl, the animated series, Mechanitar, the Way of Gasoline. While Earl was driving through the Gotham Badlands, he saw a broken-down car with two tall blue people with ponytails standing next to it. Earl pulled over and said, "Do you need any help?" "Yes," said one of the blue people. After he fixed the car, they drove away, and Earl said to himself, "I need to get my eyes checked. I could have sworn those guys were blue." Fun fact, James Cameron has said in many interviews that this is his favorite episode of E-TAS, and that it has inspired many of his movies. Anyway, see you next week. Same PP time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome back to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Louis 1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 1, Episode 17 of Judge Judy. Bats and tires. Wait, what? The plaintiff, Earl Cooper, is suing the defendant, Batman, for $7.49, the price of a tire and that he bought to work on Batman's car. Batman is countersuing for $2,300.69 for emotional distress caused by Earl suing him. As I understand it, Mr. Cooper is suing the Batman for the price of a wrench or something. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. And the Batman is suing Mr. Cooper for a couple $1,000s for emotional distress, which is also ridiculous. Case dismissed. But you didn't even let me talk. Don't pour gravy on my steak and tell me it's gravy. Anyway, see you next week. Same PP time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome back to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Louis 1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 4 of Earl, the animated series, Xenoquinade. While Earl was at the optometrist's office, he saw a man he knew all too well stealing magazines. He tried to cover his face, but soon he heard the man say, "Hello, Mr. Cooper." Earl grudgingly responded, "Hello, magaziner. What are you doing here?" "I'm doing what I do every day, taking back what is rightfully mine, by which I mean magazines. What are you doing here, Cooper?" "Getting my eyes checked. Last week, I saw these two guys who I could have sworn were blue." "Were they in the Blue Man Group? I've read about them in magazines." "No, it wasn't them. They talked and had hair." The end. I'm so happy that my boy, the magaziner, has returned. Anyway, see you next week. Same PP time, same poo-poo channel.
Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scarlowy1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 5 of The Adventures of Earl and Robin, the man who broke the Batmobile. The Batmobile came into the garage in a frightful state. When Batman and Robin got out of the Batmobile, Earl asked them, "What happened this time?" Batman answered, "We were driving down the street, and a piano landed on us." Robin added, "I think that piano mover did it on purpose." "It doesn't matter. It won't take long to fix," replied Earl. As Batman and Robin were leaving the garage, Robin asked Batman, "Whatever happened to Earl's daughter?" "I have no idea," replied Batman. The end. This is the episode that taught me to never trust a piano mover. Anyway, see you next time. Same pee-pee time, same poo-poo channel.
Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, the one and only Scarlowy1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 6 of Earl, the animated series, Biggest Bash. After fixing the Batmobile, Earl took it out for a test drive, but then crash! He crashed into another car. A rotund man got out of the car and said, "Not Batman again." After seeing Earl get out of the car, he said, "You're not Batman." Earl said, "Wait, you're Boss Biggest. I thought you were in Stonegate. I couldn't fit through the door, so they let me go." "Really?" "No, I just paid off the judge." You know, the way I describe these episodes makes it sound like they're only like 2 minutes long, but they're all 42 minutes long. Anyway, see you next week. Same PP time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome back to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scarlowy1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 7 of Earl, the animated series, Jared's Reform. While Earl was at the grocery store, a man came up to him. When Earl saw who it was, he said, "Jared Seda Jones, are you here to try and kill me again?" "No, Earl, I'm here to apologize. I'm sorry about trying to kill you and leaving that letter in your garage and being in your thermos. What was that last one? Let me finish. And kidnapping your daughter and drawing mustaches on your family photos." Fun fact about this episode, the air date order and production order are different. So in this episode, Jared references the events in an episode that I won't be talking about for a couple weeks. Anyway, see you next week. Same PP time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scarlowy1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 8 of Earl, the animated series, Optimus Earl. One morning, when Earl came into the garage, he saw a large red and blue tractor-trailer truck that was not there yesterday. Upon inspecting it, he found a note that said, "Fix me." After Earl fixed the truck, it transformed to a large robot and said, "Thank you, kind sir," and then left. While Earl was watching the robot walk away, he said, "I gotta stop having martinis for breakfast." In an interview, Michael Bay said that this episode did not have enough explosions. Anyway, see you next week. Same PP time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, sir, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scarlowy1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 9 of Earl, the animated series, The Mechanic's Birthday. One morning when Earl came to the garage, Batman and Robin were there, and Robin started singing, "What day is today? It's Earl's birthday. What a day for a birthday. Let's all have some cake." "Thanks, you two, but I've had a rough couple days. First I was in a car crash, then I saw a giant robot, and when I got home last night, someone drew mustaches on all my family photos." Batman then said, "I got you a DeLorean for your birthday, if that helps." Earl's expression immediately changed and said, "This is the best birthday ever." According to Wikipedia, Earl's birthday is September 16th, but there is no source, so yeah. Anyway, see you next week. Same PP time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scarlowy1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 10 of Earl, the animated series, The Mechanic's Holiday. Earl was on his way to Paris for his first vacation in many years. While on the plane, he was talking to the man sitting next to him. "Then my boss tells me he wants the floor of his car to be made out of papier-mâché. Can you believe that?" Earl then got up to use the bathroom. He bumped into a man. After a second, he realized who the man was. "You're the Riddler." "Yes, I am." What are you doing on this plane? That's none of your business. Good point. Earl then returned to his seat. The end. This episode was a bit anticlimactic, but that's most of the episodes. Anyway, see you next week. Same TV time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scar Louie 1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 11 of Earl, the animated series, The Laughing Fish Club. There's a brick wall in the background, and a man comes out and says, "It's open mic night here at the Laughing Fish Club. First, we have Earl Cooper." Woo! Earl came up and started telling jokes. "What do you call a vigilante in a bat costume?" "A terrible boss." "Knock, knock. Who's there?" "Batman." "Batman who?" "Batman, the awful boss." "Rough crowd tonight." "No, you suck." He does a few more jokes after this, but I don't feel comfortable saying many of them. Anyway, see you next week. Same PP time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scar Louie 1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 12 of Earl, the animated series, The King Returns. Earl hears a knock at his door. When he opened it, the Sewer King was there, and he started talking. Hello, Mr. Cooper. The Penguin told me that you built the Batmobile, so I came here to ask you to build me the Sewermobile. Yes. It needs lots of seating for my beloved children. Also would love if the wheels were manhole covers. I don't have much money, but I can pay you in children. By the way, can it be alligator-powered?" Earl slammed the door in the face of the Sewer King. The end. I don't think I've talked about the theme song yet. Michael Jackson's singing is great, of course, but the fact that they use a smoke alarm as an instrument kinda ruins it for me. Anyway, see you next week. Same PP time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scar Louie 1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 13 of Earl, the animated series, Locked Out. One day, Earl went to get into his DeLorean, but he discovered that he had locked his keys in the car. He screamed to the sky, "This is the liberal media's fault! I'm not sure how, but it is!" So, he had to take the bus. While on the bus, he saw the Penguin and Mr. Wing sitting across from him. The Penguin asked, "Do I know you?" Earl quickly replied, "No, you do not." The end. This episode takes place at the same time as the Season 1 episode, The Penguin Takes the Bus. You can tell because the last scene is the exact same, including some dust in between the cells. Anyway, see you next week. Same TV time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scar Louie 1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 14 of Earl, the animated series, Ice Try. One day, Earl was putting snow tires on the Batmobile when, bonk, he was knocked unconscious. When he came to, the Penguin was standing in front of him. "Hello, Earl. I'm going to kill you, and your favorite hero, Batman, isn't here to save you." "Actually, my favorite superhero is Soul Power." "You like Soul Power? Good choice, Bonk." "Hello," said Batman, standing over the unconscious Penguin. "How did you find me?" asked Earl. "The tracker I put on you," answered Batman. "Where did you put it?" Batman starts to walk away. "Where did you put it?" Fun fact, this is the last episode to air before the start of Freakazoid. Anyway, see you next week. Same TV time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scar Louie 1. In this episode, I will tell you about the 1994 video game, Can Earl Fix It? For the SNES. In each level, the Batmobile comes into the garage with a variety of problems. You must complete a series of minigames to repair each part of the Batmobile, such as pressing buttons at the right time to put on the tires or matching colored wires to fix the onboard computer. After fixing all the damage, you get a score based on how quickly you complete each task. The game got neutral to negative reviews, such as, "This game is boring," "Who is Earl?" and "Too woke." Anyway, see you next week. Same TV time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scar Louie 1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 16 of Earl, the animated series, Bat Smoke. One day in 1894, a blacksmith was standing outside his shop when a masked man dressed all in black rode up on a black horse. "My horse needs new horseshoes." "I can do that, partner." After the blacksmith reshoed the horse, the masked man said, "Thanks for the help, partner. What's your name?" "The name's Earl. Earl!" yelled Robin as Earl woke up in the back of the Batmobile. "You need to stop dozing off like this," said Robin. Sadly, there are only 3 episodes left after this. Anyway, see you next week. Same TV time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scarlowy1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 17 of Earl, the animated series Catnap. One morning, when Earl got to the garage, he was surprised to find Batman asleep in the backseat of the Batmobile. He was even more surprised when he realized Catwoman was also sleeping there. Batman woke up and said, "I can explain. Joker gassed me and Catwoman, and the auto drive brought us here. Yeah." "Then why is Catwoman naked?" "Because, you know what? I don't want to know." "Oh, thank heaven." Fun fact, all other episodes of this show are rated TV PG, but this episode is rated TV MA for the nudity, obviously. Anyway, see you next week. Same TV time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scarlowy1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 18 of Earl, the animated series Get Up. One afternoon in late December, Earl was building a Hydra-shaped float for the Gotham City New Year's Parade. Earl said, "Hey, Batman, can you get up on the Hydra's back and tell me if it's stable?" "Sure, Earl," replied Batman. After Batman got up on the Hydra's back, he said, "Seems stable, but where's the Batmobile?" "You're standing on it," replied Earl. "You turned the Batmobile into a parade float." "Do you expect me to do it to my own car?" Another great episode. I hope this show never ends. Next week's the finale, by the way. Anyway, see you next week. Same TV time, same poo-poo channel. Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic-Wagon. I'm your host, Scarlowy1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 2, Episode 19, the final episode of Earl, the animated series, The Mechanic, the Bat, and the Wardrobe. Batman and Earl were standing in front of the Batmobile. Earl said, "I present to you the newest upgrade to the Batmobile. Guns!" He pressed a button on a remote, and mounted guns popped out of the Batmobile's hood. "Why did you do this, Earl? You know I hate guns." "I saw in a movie," replied Earl. "This is the last straw, Earl. You're fired." "You can't fire me." "I can, and I did." The end. Earl, the animated series is over. But I will be back in like a year to cover the new Earl Adventures. Anyway, see you eventually. Same TV time, same poo-poo channel.